Dogpack 404 released new allegations against MrBeast and his team, and I can say it got way worse than before. Some of the allegations are that MrBeast hired SA offenders and how his secret manager helped to cover up those allegations and much more. So stay until the end so you don't miss anything. The first point Dogpack was making in his new video was that all the social medias of MrBeast's secret manager were took down after he mentioned him in his last video. He is MrBeast's cousin, and many people claimed he is very aggressive, hits his girlfriends, and shouts at people. He also once offered cocaine and hookers to video editors to stay late.
I heard that he's very aggressive. I've heard him referred to as a psychopath who screams at people and hits his girlfriends. There's allegedly domestic violence charges that were filed against him.
Also, a colleague of him had to leave the company because of him. So he doesn't seem like a guy who should work at such a high position at MrBeast. MrBeast's cousin was also involved in a big scam which made his partner go to prison for 10 years.
Partner Joshua Hutchins, who was sentenced to 10 years in prison for running a real estate Ponzi scheme.
Ponzi schemes are great up until they just go bust.
He was involved in these scams by pressuring people to invest money in his partner's business, which he unfortunately used to buy an AR-15 and 100 rounds of ammunition.
Regularly used investor funds on other properties or personal expenses. Now, what kind of personal expenses? Well, apparently he bought an AR-15 and hundreds of rounds of ammunition.
His wife also had a domestic violence protection order against him.
His wife had a domestic violence order of protection against him. He's accused of calling his wife a lying rat and sending menacing photos of himself in tactical gear in the woods to her friends and family.
MrBeast's manager did know all this and still helped this guy to defraud an old woman over $1.3 million.
From what I've heard of James Warren's character, how he's hit ex-girlfriends, not let them leave the house, beat his dog, defrauded people in his own ways.
Also, after Dogpack's last video, MrBeast reached out to Jake Weddle and offered him the rest of the money, which was $190,000, because he couldn't finish the full 30 days. So that shows that it was the truth and Jake Weddle wasn't lying. Because MrBeast's manager then hired a friend of him who was running a adult entertaining event business called Ola Hill, where you could buy male strippers. Only 2 years later, he was hired from MrBeast's cousin as a producer, which is already weird because MrBeast is a YouTube channel for children, and this guy has a company where you could book male strippers. But that's not even the problem, because the actual problem was that he got fired for sexually assaulting his assistant, but he never really got fired, he just got quietly moved to MrBeast's dubbing company. He then got moved back 2 years later and promoted to the chief operating officer. But you can watch yourself.
Which also, after my first video, his YouTube channel mysteriously got deleted. And at some point, his Twitter also got deleted. I don't know if that's when he sexually assaulted his assistant. I don't know if that's after my first video got posted. Either way, Booty Call Wednesdays are canceled. He was actually brought back to MrBeast in 2023 after sexually assaulting his assistant prior, and promoted to Chief Financial Officer, which is how I personally was introduced to him.
Right after Dogpack 404 released his last video, Ola Hill deleted his LinkedIn account and his social media, which is pretty suspicious and shows they try to hide something from him.
They say, yes, Ola Hill, the current COO. In 2021, he had an assistant named victim's name. I heard Ola acted very inappropriately with victim, booking hotel rooms with only one bed, walking around in his underwear, having victim come to his house and showing him his sex toy collection. Just in general, Ola made victim uncomfortable. Victim started complaining to higher-ups and a report got written. Ola was put on paid leave for like a month. Then MrBeast moved him to the dubbing company, and he was hired back in 2023 and was promoted to COO, even though Jimmy, James, and Sue 100% know his history. Okay, few things. Ola sexually assaulted his assistant who was straight and Ola was gay. You probably already know that, but James is best friends with him, so holy shit was that surprising that they kept him around way longer than they should have. There were reports of him making the assistant sleep in the same room/bed with him on trips, touching him inappropriately, and dangling his job in front of him.
But MrBeast himself also has some new allegations to explain. One of them is that he was directly informed multiple times of SA in his company and was proactively working to keep it quiet. Also, MrBeast's ex-girlfriend was posting some tweets about Jimmy where she didn't say explicit things, but she made clear MrBeast doesn't treat girls really well. So everything doesn't seem right in his company, and it seems like this happens pretty often. The last point Dogpack 404 was making was that MrBeast was sending an email to his employees to work on the company culture. But the guy he hired for this was many times in the news for his macho culture and his culture of recklessness.
But what's ironic about this is that Jeff Hausenbold has been in the news previously for the internal culture that he helped create as managing partner at the SoftBank Vision Fund. Here's New York Post. Nasty executives shaped macho culture at SoftBank Vision Fund. And here's Bloomberg Business Week. SoftBank Vision Fund employees depict a culture of recklessness. It has also been described as an environment of sycophancy and harassment. Acquaintances describe him as smart and arrogant and almost entirely lacking in self-awareness. He's also gotten away with some questionable behavior. In a discussion about whether to invest in the stationary bike startup Peloton in 2017, according to two people who were in the meeting, Hausenbold opined that its exercise equipment appealed in part to men who masturbated to its workout videos.
So now you can build your own opinion about MrBeast's company and if he is really the guy he pretends to be. So comment what you think about this.